Hi, I'm Zachary Farnell. Thank you for joining me for another edition of your Timberlane Weather Update. Well, it's been a long time. This is the first recording, obviously, since before the winter break, and we've got a lot to break down as we look towards the next couple of days. Again, today and yesterday, we've seen an Arctic blast that's come through the area, but it's going to be short-lived. On Saturday, a quick rainstorm moves through as the highs reach into the 40s, and next week, look for some brutal cold after a potential snowstorm comes through on Sunday. So, again, I mentioned on that really brief recap, we saw a really cold winter break, one of the coldest we've seen in the last couple of years. And that's kind of continued to the last couple of days. Haven't gotten much of a break outside of 1 or 2 days where we maybe reached 35 degrees. Yesterday, not much different. So you see those daytime highs in the upper 20s for much of the eastern United States, and overnight it got brutally cold, specifically in New England. Take a look at some of these colds where you see the pinks. That's where you're seeing lows are in and around 0 degrees. For us, it was much closer to about 10 degrees overnight, but still not warm by any stretch of the imagination. And today didn't heat up a whole lot more. You're seeing some of that cold receding towards our area, so not as widespread coverage of some of those very cold temperatures that we've been seeing for the last month or so. But again, definitely still in the area for us. And now on the satellite, you can see kind of some distant clouds over much of the eastern United States. That's kept it from getting absolutely ridiculously cold like we've seen over the last sort of the beginning of the year as we got towards New Year's Day itself, and just after that we saw that major Arctic blast. This is what's preventing it from getting a whole lot colder than that. But more importantly, you can kind of see on this side a little bit of something brewing across the Midwest, maybe the Great Lakes region out towards the Great Plains as well. A little bit of a storm developing that you're going to begin to see play out as we get towards tomorrow on the fronts map. This is Friday as we look towards the upper Great Plains. A massive high pressure system has been pushed out and replaced by a low pressure system. This storm is going to be very important for us over the next couple of days. It doesn't begin to give us effects on Friday. You see kind of a high pressure, discombobulated high pressure system across much of the southern half of the country that's kind of extending its reach over to us. And as we get towards Saturday, that gets fully pushed out. The high pressure system across this area moves away. In the Rockies, we get snow, and across the eastern United States, a mix of rain and snow as well. On this map, it might look like we'll be getting a little bit of snow associated with this storm, as it's going to start out as a shot of snow, especially for places like New York City, even Philadelphia may get some snow to begin, but it's going to be mostly messy for them, and for us, I'm not expecting any snowfall at all. In fact, the main issue is that this storm is up to our north. If this storm was to our south, it could allow some of the cold air to drop down, but instead it's dragging all the warm air up. And so, you're going to see this storm down into the south, where you're seeing it now currently sitting over places like Louisiana. It's going to move off the coast. That one will bring us some precipitation, but because this one has dragged all the warm air north, it's going to be all rain. So, on Saturday, you can't see it yet, but you're going to get a pretty brief afternoon into evening rainstorm. Nothing severe, nothing serious, but those daytime highs will be reaching into the 40 to 45 degree range as we look towards Saturday. Into Sunday, it's not this system, but a totally different system that develops right behind it. So 3 low pressure systems associated with this one single storm. And that one, after the first one moves through and gives us our rain, a second one develops, and because the first one's moved through, the wind can change direction. It allows the wind to move out of the north. You're seeing these cold fronts draping across the eastern United States. This one particularly is going to be Arctic. Behind it, the highs in towards much of the Great Plains and the Great Lakes region going to be -20 for the daytime highs when the sun's been out for hours. It's going to be nearly -40 overnight in some areas across the northern United States. We're not going to be getting quite that cold, but those low temperatures over the beginning of next week after this front moves through will be brutal to be frank. And honestly, we may reach the negatives multiple times, a couple days, specifically nights in a row. But you see this low pressure system, that's going to give us sort of a Sunday evening snowstorm. And snowstorm I use broadly here. It's going to be more of a conglomerate of snow showers. So expect the snow to be pretty light, not super intense, but moderate at times. Nothing too severe, nothing that I'm too worried about. But I would expect this second system that develops behind the first one to move through Sunday evening. And as that snow ramps up, as the sun begins to go down on Sunday night, expect your morning on Monday for Martin Luther King Jr. Day to be pretty snowy as we look towards the 5-day forecast and what exactly we can expect right now behind me. So again, I mentioned over the next couple of days what we can expect. Tomorrow, it's going to slowly warm up, still pretty chilly, nothing crazy, partly cloudy on Saturday. You see, we have it marked down as rain. That's going to be mainly rain Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. Highs again, 40 to 45 across the area with the lows barely reaching freezing at all. But the story changes on Sunday. The wind will completely change direction Sunday morning into the noon time, and that's where we're going to see our high temperatures. In fact, at about noon, the temperatures should begin to drop steadily. So 35, that's not going to be coming when the snow's coming around. That's going to be around noontime. The snow begins closer as we get towards the evening into nighttime hours on Sunday. So we get rain Saturday evening, snow Sunday evening with a break in between. It's possible that you get some sun in between those two storms and it won't just be cloudy the whole time. Again, we have it marked down as 1 to 3 inches across much of the district. It's going to kind of depend on how this storm plays out and just exactly what the details are going to be. It's a little bit hard to predict right now, but it's definitely not going to be a slam dunk blizzard by any stretch of the imagination. If it's weaker, maybe we only get snow showers that it's unable to group those together into a major snow shield to move across New England and give us 3 inches. If it does get stronger, it may be able to extend its reach of influence into our area and give us closer to 2 or 3 inches. Either way, as we get towards Monday and Tuesday, it's going to cool off a lot. That Arctic air is going to move in, and Tuesday is going to be your coldest day I believe we've seen since that last Arctic blast and the last really, really cold day we're going to see for a while. That does not mean that as we get towards mid-time next week, it's going to be warm. In fact, as you look towards Wednesday, it's not going to be a whole lot warmer. Those high temperatures expected still to probably be below 20 degrees. If they're not going to be a whole lot higher than 20. As we get towards Thursday, it's no longer brutal, but it's still very cold. Highs in the mid-20s. It's going to be partly cloudy throughout the week next week as we slowly warm up, getting back up towards freezing, and maybe even next Saturday and Sunday we can break freezing and get out of a brutal stretch of weather. Well, I'm Zachary Farnell. Thank you for joining me for another edition of your Timberlane Weather Update. Make sure to stay safe and stay weather aware for this storm on Sunday, especially as we get towards Monday and Tuesday. If any snow does fall, it's unlikely that it will melt and then cause freezing afterwards. But if it does, stay aware because the roads will be absolutely brutal following that snowfall and then a hard freeze that comes right after it. Make sure to stay weather alert, weather aware. I'm Zachary Farnell. Thank you for joining me for another Timberlane Weather Update. Signing off.